Better late than never, but welcome to the Anglo-Italian pod. End of season Serie A awards. As always, my name is Rory, and I'm joined by two very special guests. First, to my right or to my left, we have.
Is that me? Yeah.
Yep. So,
Hello. How you doing, Rory?
yeah, I'm good. Thank you. We have James from Dews Football, and below me, not like that, we have Uncle Sharma, friend of the show, an Inter expert. How we doing, man? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I think this is my third cap on the show.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Doing all right. I think James, you're second. I think it's second time you've been on the show.
Yes.
Second. There we go. Catching up. It's all good. Well, it's time for the Serie A end of season awards. It's been an incredible season. Me and James were talking off mic about just the sheer level of ridiculous goals there's been in Serie A this year. Trying to choose a goal this season in particular was difficult. All the off-field antics, and that's just Napoli. But there was even more elsewhere. But Sharma, there's been some more off-field antics in Milan as Inter's ownership has it seems to have changed, not by choice. Like what's happened?
Yeah, so our previous owner, Suning slash Steven Zhang, they took out a loan. So after COVID, all the whole drama about Lukaku, Hakimi, Conte were leaving, that Inter are going to go into liquidation. We might have, but he took out a loan to save us from going into liquidation. But that money is it was about 280 million, but the interest rate on that was about like 12%. I mean, not even the mortgage. I think the mortgages are usually about 4%. So you can tell how desperate he was to take out a 280 million loan on 12% interest. And yeah, I think we all kind of knew that he wasn't going to pay that back, which the deadline was 20th of May last week. And yeah, he didn't pay it back. He tried to pay it back by taking another loan, which didn't work out. Shock. And yeah, part of that loan. So the stipulation was the Suning shares of Inter were the collateral for if you didn't pay the loan to Oak Tree, which was the company that loaned the money. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. Loan was not paid. Oak Tree take over the shares of Steven Zhang Suning, and they're now the rightful and 99% owners of Inter.
And they don't have any other. Do they have any other sporting enterprises? Do they have any track? Any clue as to what their intentions are?
They're just a massive investment firms. I think they have taken over a team somewhere in I forgot now. I think somewhere in France. I think League Two in France. They took over a team in similar circumstances, but yeah, they're not really. From what we heard, they're not interested in running Inter or even being involved too heavily. So yeah, no one really knows too much about them. They're just a really, really big investment firm. They're bigger. They're 10 times bigger than Elliott, the company that took over Milan just a few years ago. So they're really big in terms of investment portfolio. Which I don't know if that means it's a good thing or not for Inter.
Wow, that is incredible. I saw the send off for Steven Zhang. The kind of send off his letter to the Inter fans was really touching. It feels like even though there was always a bit of was it animosity between the Inter fans and Zhang when it came to finances and stuff, they were still quite. It felt like there was still a bit of sadness to see him leaving, right?
Yeah, I think he's probably the last few. I don't think you have many fan owners anymore, so they're really dying off now. So maybe he didn't come in like that at the beginning when they took over in 2016, but by the end of it, as you saw, yeah, with the letter, he kind of became really an Inter fan. I think the animosity it comes from mainly not understanding the situation. So there was a few things like after COVID, the Chinese government really said luxury goods, foreign investment, you just cut it off. So he wasn't even allowed to take money into Milan or Europe. So he couldn't invest money anyway. And then before that, they did pump a lot of money. If we calculate, it's about near almost €1 billion they've pumped into in terms of buying into all the capital injections they've done over the years. So I think he's a little bit overly criticized in some aspects, but at the same time, yeah, someone who doesn't pay their debts probably maybe deserves some criticisms as well. But he definitely was like a I think if Moratti, the previous president that we had a few last decade, it was kind of like it reminded us of that in terms of this guy will spend more than probably he could spend on Inter.
yeah. Let his heart rule his head at times. Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens for Inter next year. But yeah, absolutely baffling situation there. Absolutely baffling. But thanks for catching us up on that. But we are going to go into the Serie A awards for the year, and we're going to kick off with our player of the season. This might be an easy one to go for, but James, I'm going to start with you first. Who is your nomination for player of the season?
Surprised it's an Inter player. Who'd have seen that one coming? I've gone with a player who I have adored for about 9 years now, ever since he's playing in Germany, Hakan Çalhanoğlu.
It's hard to argue, right? I think he's a player that I didn't really appreciate fully while he was at Milan. I think I maybe didn't watch him as closely, but it feels like since he's got to Inter, his all-round game has expanded a little bit more, right?
Yeah, so I mean, was it the Barcelona game the season before, the season prior? He moved into a regista role. I mean, it's blown my mind it's taken this long, because this has always made sense, because he's an incredible passer. He's fantastic to watch. He breaks lines, but he has these technical abilities, but he's also got the brain for it. He's got the composure, which is so key in positions like that. And a lot of players don't have it. But I mean, even his defensive numbers, and it comes with the territory by playing a bit deeper, but he's made more tackles, made more blocks. It's that side of his game has kind of blown my mind a little bit. He's got 13 goals this season as well, 10 are penalties, but
they still count.
He hasn't missed one. That's an incredible bit of composure. I've got the stats here. That's his best goal scoring tally since he's playing for Karlsruhe in the Trita Liga in the 12-13 season. He's scoring for fun. I don't care that the penalties, and they're in big games as well. He scored against Milan, Atalanta, Fiorentina, Napoli, 2 European finalists, the league champions, and the city rivals.
Yeah.
I've got to go Çalhanoğlu.
I think it's hard to argue, right, Sharma? I think when Inter signed him, I didn't know if it was just to piss off Milan that they signed him, but he's genuinely become like an absolute hero on the pitch, right?
Yeah, he's become a fan favorite. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Chala as well before when he signed. I was like, I never liked him as a number 10, and he's got like number 10 tattooed on his sleeve as well. And I'm thinking like, oh, what a dick. But now as James was saying, I think he's found his real position. I think in the other positions he tend to play more hero ball and try to shoot from every place and every angle. But it reminded me of Bruno when he used to play in the other positions for Inter. But yeah, now it's funny. I posted it the other day. Inter have had the midfielder of the year 4 seasons in a row now. It was Barella, then Brozovic, and then Barella again, and now Hakan, which is funny because it just seems like our midfielders are just running away with that title every season. And it's deserved, especially taking over from Brozovic. Everyone always thought how are Inter going to replace him, and we always had the poster Brozovic in our team. Is crazy, and I think he's even been in some aspect he's better than Brozovic because he's at tackling or the way he covers ground. I mean, Brozovic covered loads of ground. He used to cover those 15, 16 kilometers a game sometimes, but it was he covers in a slower pace. Hakan can really catch some guys up and slide tackle and win the ball back, which is really important when other teams are transitioning. So yeah, and as you guys mentioned the penalties, because Lautaro
he can't be trusted.
Exactly. That's one thing with Inzaghi. He's kind of this year is decided before it was chopping and changing. Lautaro might take one, Hakan takes this one, Di Marco was taking them at some points, and but this year it was no. Hakan's a penalty taker, and he's had 100% conversion rate this season, and so good to see. Once a guy puts the ball down, you just know he's going to score, and it's invaluable.
That's such a good sign of mentality as well. Scoring 10 out of 10 penalties, that's incredible.
Yeah, and as you pointed out, in high pressure moments and in games where it really, really counted, I think he's just taken the team on his shoulders at multiple opportunities this season. I also think there's very few players that pass a ball in a way that make me audibly make noises at home when he passes the ball. He just strokes it across the pitch. Oh, what? His yeah, the aesthetics behind his passing often is just absolutely beautiful as well. So
That
it's not
viral one
just
against Juve,
just
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. I think there was one against Milan as well in the title-winning game where there was a few passes there as well where I was audibly moaning in the bar as well. Just absolutely incredible player. I'm putting forward Çalhanoğlu as well. Really, Sharma. I'm assuming you're putting ahead Çalhanoğlu.
Yeah, I think like if it was until February, it was like Lautaro was like easily the probably player of the year, but then like Lautaro just kind of fell off a cliff. Whereas Çalhanoğlu has been like just nice, consistent the whole season. 6.5 minimum out of 10 every single game almost.
What I find weird about Rory. What I find weird about Çalhanoğlu is he was like my favorite player. It's the reason I follow Leverkusen so much now. He is that reason. It's because he was incredible at free kicks, at scoring them. Now I swear he never scores them.
Oh, we want to take him off free kicks. That's one thing. He's amazing at penalties, but take him off free kicks.
It is mind blowing. You watch his free kicks from 8-9 years ago. Unbelievable and consistent. What's happened?
Yeah, I think
it's
it's still
Cristiano.
like if I think I keep seeing those charts of like the last decade of like free kick scorers, and he's still like up there somehow.
Incredible.
Well, he must have taken his eye off the ball somewhere. I suppose you can't cover all the bases, right?
Well,
you can't cover all the bases. But I did want to. I'm glad you mentioned. I did want to put forward Lautaro Martinez as a kind of honourable mention because, again, before the season kicked off, he was a player that we've on this pod regularly kind of said, yeah, he's good, but has he got the consistency? Like, can he get past those streaks and kind of really continue it on? And as you said, up until February, he really did. I just felt like that maybe the Champions League, exit in the Champions League, that whole thing, like it kind of mentally got to him. Like, Sharma, what do you think happened towards the end of the season for him? Was it just that the jeopardy went in the season? It looked like you were going to win. Like,
yeah, I think like Napoli last year. I remember it was the same kind of thing with them. It was like February, March, and Kvara, Osimhen, all those guys just kind of like, the title was won, and the performances just weren't there anymore. I think it's that kind of complacency sets in maybe. But then he also played a lot this season. Lautaro is like, because Arnautovic and Sanchez weren't really used that much. So yeah, I think he also maybe got a bit tired. But yeah, he always has been patchy. That's one thing we've always known about Lautaro. This season, it seems like, oh, maybe he's not. But then he just saved that patchiness towards the end of the season, luckily.
And now he's renegotiating for a contract. And I saw you saying maybe tell your agent to shut up if you don't want people talking about your contract. But do you feel like how do you feel this is going to go? He's asking for big money, but he's kind of earned it, right?
Yeah, but it's probably not the amount he's asking for, because he's asking for. I mean, yeah, we love Serie A, but we can't. It's like Serie A teams just can't pay what he's asking for, which is like, for people listening, he's asking for like 12 million net, which in Italian like gross terms is like 24, because you pretty much double it. And then apparently he wants it to be rising every year to like reach 16 million net, which is no one is paid that in this league. I think Osimhen is the highest paid at the moment with 10. So it's he definitely deserves to be paid, because apparently Vlahovic has got this type of contract where it rises every year. So he deserves to be paid as much as Vlahovic and Osimhen. So I give him that. But he needs to understand that, Inter, especially now with this new ownership we have in general, like, you got to be realistic with your demands. So either he wants to stay, he's the captain now as well, and he keeps saying that he loves Inter and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of reminding of us of the Skriniar situation a little bit now. But I remain kind of cautiously optimistic. I don't know. I've been wrong last few renewals, but I still keep the faith.
This time you'll be right. Yeah. Nice. Well, player of the season goes to Çalhanoğlu. I think is kind of a unanimous decision. Congratulations, Hakan. And let's move on to young player of the season. And Sharma, I'm going to let you kick us off with your nomination here.
Well, I think it's between the two Bologna players. I'm going to give it to Calafiori, my one, Riccardo Calafiori from Bologna. I think he's just been, that Bologna team in general has been amazing, like getting to the Champions League, historic. But I just never saw it. He was at Roma, was like this weird kind of lanky fullback, went to Basel. Didn't even notice that Bologna signed him in the summer. And then, I think Thiago Motta's now turned him into a strong, tough tackling centre back, and yeah, he's amazing on the ball, progressive. Yeah, I'm just so impressed, and I'm gutted that it looks like he's going to Juventus.
They're taking that whole Bologna vibe, aren't they, Juve?
Yeah.
Like, they've really just gone, thank you. Like, James, it's been incredible what's happened at Bologna this year. Have you been impressed, particularly by Calafiori? I've really liked Buchema alongside him as well, but I think Calafiori has really stood out, right?
Yeah, Calafiori is really again, like Sharma was saying, I'd never even heard of the guy before the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not a clue, and he's come out of nowhere, as of Bologna. Although Bologna as a team have kind of, Motta's always been one of those, like a hipster's choice, ever since the 272 and whatnot. But Calafiori's come out and not stole the show. There's a couple of other players there, but he's not my pick for Young Player of the Year, but he was damn close.
Yeah, and I think he's now basically, a lot of people here are demanding that he starts at centre back for Italy, which I think in terms of like the acceleration in a year is pretty crazy. So I think, yeah, incredible season from him. James, I'm going to get because you've intrigued me now, who is your nomination for Young Player of the Season?
I've gone with Serie A's official Young Player of the Season with Josh Zirkzee.
Very nice shout. You go, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'd say Bologna's top scorer this season with 11. He's a freak of nature as well. Don't get me wrong, he should probably score more, but he's more of a modern day striker, if that makes sense. So he can pass. He's incredibly strong on the ball, whether he's on or off the ball. I feel like he's quite two-footed as well, which is just so important in football. He works well in the system, and I think he's not the finished article yet. I still think he's got 4 or 5 more goals in him. But what he's done here at Bologna, this is their best season since 1968, like 5th place. And to try and put that into like perspective, the managers that season were Real Madrid's 2nd and 3rd. Sorry, the managers that season won Real Madrid's 2nd and 3rd European Cup in 1957 and 58, and was the guy who introduced Catenaccio, Gico Vianney. That is how far back we're talking here. So Zirkzee, Calafiori, doing this with Bologna, it's genuinely incredible. And Zirkzee, this is his breakout season. He was at Bayern for 2 seasons, and then someone have to remind me.
He went to Parma, and it wasn't particularly successful.
Well. Yeah. This has been his breakout season, doing it in a top league as well. I've gone Zirkzee.
Yeah, no, I think it's an absolute, and I think what's really impressed me is the fact that he can play all across the front line as well. He kind of runs the wings and the central role. His close control, his ability to beat a man. He's one of the most entertaining players to watch in the league this year, right, Sharma?
Yeah, he's a baller. His touch is just so good for a big man. Yeah, he's amazing.
So some of his touches past players as well. I was watching some highlights earlier. Like he'd just take a big first touch, but it'll just absolutely dumbfound the defender, and he's gone.
Yeah. Well, that's it. His turn of pace as well. He's just been so exciting to watch this year. So I think he's absolutely a fair shout. He was mine as well. I've gone for Zirkzee. I wanted, as an outside shout, just to tip my hat to someone who had a very impressive start of the season, then kind of disappeared. I thought Sule might have a shout, but then he very, very quickly, as Frosinone started to slip away, he started to slip away as well. But Sharma, unfortunately, another Juve player who's looking quite exciting, although it looks like they might need to sell him, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but Thiago Motta's different type of coach. I think under Allegri, definitely would have sold him. But yeah, he was. I think if Frosinone stayed up, I would have might have given it to him, because his first half he would pretty much carry that Frosinone team. He was amazing. I think he has like 2nd or 3rd most dribbles in Europe as well. Which when I was watching him last season for Juve, I didn't think he had this kind of explosiveness in there. So he really surprised me this year. And he's been called up to the Argentina team as well a couple of times. I think he might be the heir to the Di Maria spot in that national team.
I like that shout a lot. Yeah, I really enjoyed watching that. Frosinone, it's a shame they went down. They were a lot of fun to watch this year, and attacking wise, they really did properly go for it. There was a lot of goals in their games, so it's a shame to see them go. But I want to give a little tip of the hat to Sule. But I think we're probably going to, on balance, give it to Zirkzee. I think we're all big Zirkzee fans here, right? Yeah, nice. Young player of the season, Joshua Zirkzee. hopefully he doesn't go to Juve too. Hopefully Bologna can get one more year out of him before he does.
I just wanted to say Ronald Koeman took Weghorst instead of Joshua Zirkzee to the Euros.
Yeah.
Painful.
Time will tell. Who knows? Maybe Weghorst gets the winner in the final. Time will tell. Yeah, saying that out loud, it does sound pretty terrible, eh? It does sound pretty terrible. Let's move on to best signing of the season. Now, this might be another area where Inter sweep up a little bit. But James, I'm going to let you kick us off with your nomination here. I've got quite a few, some more arguable than others. But James, who's your nomination?
Yeah, I've gone with a goalkeeper that, in my opinion, has been top 10 for a long time. And it's Jan Sommer. How old is he now? 35?
I think.
Yeah, 35. He signed for pennies from Bayern, well, relatively, obviously. He had to replace Onana off the back of a fantastic season, and he's been nothing short of brilliant, really. 19 clean sheets, which is a record in the top 7 leagues in Europe. He's not a modern-day goalkeeper, as I was saying to Rory earlier, before we started, but he's just mint at making saves. And sometimes that's all you want.
Yeah. If you can stop the ball going in the net, it's a good start, right?
Some keepers are brilliant in the ball, but terrible at keeping it out of the net. He's just brilliant at keeping it out of the net. And sometimes, if that's all you're good at, well, thank God that's all you're good at.
Yeah. It sounds like you were describing Onana this season in the second description.
well, first half of the season, and Champions League Onana.
Yeah. But Sharma, did you expect Sommer to be quite as outstanding as he has been?
I didn't expect him to be also good on the ball, to be honest. He's been very solid on the ball as well. Like, I don't feel like, obviously, Onana had some of those pinger passes sometimes that he would do. But yeah, like Sommer's, even under pressure, he's really good with his short passing game as well, which has surprised me.
I went to watch Portugal versus Switzerland in the Nations League, what would it be, 2019? And he was awful on the ball that day. I remember watching, like, he cannot kick a football. It's like, what? Don't get me wrong. I still don't think he's amazing, but he's improved drastically.
Yeah,
from when I first saw him.
He's been really, really good, really, really good. Yeah, like I made a video the other day, and people were like clowning me on TikTok because I said that he wasn't even nominated for Serie A Goalkeeper of the Year. I wasn't saying that he should have won it, but he's had the most clean sheets. I know that he doesn't face as many shots as other goalkeepers, but he's been a calming influence at the back, so he deserves a nomination at least.
Yeah, this is the same argument we've had Arsenal fans with David Raya. We're like, he got the most clean sheets. Oh, but he doesn't have to do anything. Well, it's not his fault. He still kept that many clean sheets. Like, no, I can feel your pain with that one. Sharma, who is your nomination for best signing?
My one is Marcus Thuram on a free. Taking over after I think we were signing him anyway, regardless of the Lukaku thing, because I think we had that free transfer kind of wrapped up anyway. But yeah, after the Lukaku debacle, Dzeko left, and then as it turned out, Sanchez and Arnautovic weren't as reliable options. He just kind of came in, 20 GA, so I think 13 goals, 7 assists. He's just been so good outside of that as well. Like, he was what Joaquin Correa was supposed to be, adding that
100%.
pace, dribbling to this Inter team, because we lack a lot of pace and dribbling in this Inter team. So he's finally added that bit of flair, a bit of just a bit of creativity up front next to Lautaro. And he's that partnership with Lautaro seems like telepathic as well. He's just been such an impactful signing, and really, really enjoy watching him play.
Yeah, for free, you kind of have to remind yourself that it was like genuine. I think it was the best signing in Europe this year. It was Thuram, and what I love about him as well is that he really seems to have taken the club to his heart quite quickly. He's like really got in with he seems to just get the culture. I know that like after they won the Scudetto, I watched a bit of the live with him and Chakan and Steven Zhang, and like it was really. It seems like they were all massively hungover, and Thuram had big sunglasses on to try and hide it. But it seems like he's really got into the club as well, right? And the fans absolutely love him.
Yeah, I think it helped that he kind of grew up in Italy. Obviously, his dad, Lilian, was a Juve legend, so he grew up in Italy. So he already spoke Italian. It just really helped with his quick integration. But yeah, he came in, he came in at perfect age as well. Came out at 26. Now he's 27. So he's like really just hitting his peak at the perfect time.
Yeah, James, your thoughts on Thuram's impact? Because he's also scored, well, I don't know how many goals he got in the derby, but they were all bangers. He scored in massive games. Like, he has really... It took me by surprise just quite how good he's been.
I mean, the numbers took me up by surprise. I'll say that. His actual footballing ability didn't. He's always been quite a quick, powerful footballer, which always works in Serie A, in my opinion. Because I know it's a bit of a stereotype, but the defenders are a little bit slower, right?
Yeah, no.
Start.
Yeah.
And players like that will just always work in the league for as long as they sort the defense up until they get the Virgil van Dijks in, basically. And, Marcus Thuram, to be honest, I was going to go with him, but I was like, someone else is going to say him. So I wanted to give Som some credit.
No, I think that's absolutely fair. My nomination is Thuram, but I did want us to also discuss as options De Ketelaere at Atalanta. I think for a player whose confidence was below rock bottom and was being laughed out of Milan, for him to come and have such an impact in such a great season for Atalanta, I think genuinely a very clever piece of business. And if Atalanta can get that on a permanent, I think that is genuinely fantastic. And I also wanted to go for Niang at Empoli in terms of like impact and how important a player is for a team. I think he's basically kept them in the league. Again, a player that when he came back, everyone was like, "Way, here he is. Let's see what happens." And he's genuinely like Sharma. He's been there at the big moments. He kept them in the league, right?
Yeah, but I think all of his goals, apart from the last one, were penalties. But again, they all count.
Yeah. That is true. I did want to tip my hat to him because I think he has a slight shout. But yeah, De Ketelaere is my outsider, I think. But I think we're going to agree on Thuram. I think, Thuram best signing in Europe, I think. So definitely signing of the season. Another one for Inter. Maybe this one will go to Inter as well. The next one is worst signing of the season. Sharma, I'm going to let you kick us off with this one.
Worst signing of the season. I actually need to think about this one a little bit. I think there's quite a few corkers out there.
I'll jump to James and give you a minute, and then we can go through it. So, James, who are you putting forward with your worst signing?
Well, we're going to start clowning Napoli in a bit, so let's just start now. I've gone with Jesper Lindstrom, signed from Frankfurt, 25 million euros, barely played. I think he started twice, which is ironic because Liverpool were after him in the summer, but his reasoning for moving to Napoli was game time. Yeah. And let's be real here. Liverpool are actually quite good at rotating forwards. He would have played a lot more at Liverpool. He's barely kicked a ball at Napoli. I can't tell you anything positive he's done. I can't tell you anything negative he's done because he hasn't done anything. Yeah. Like, all things considered, it's a dreadful signing. Yeah,
I forgot he'd signed for them, honestly, and that's one of their bigger signings this year, like one of the more expensive ones. I forgot he'd gone there completely. I've gone for, I've got a few written down. PR-wise and lack of impact, I've gone for Jerome Boateng at Salernitana because it was just all round a terrible idea.
I forgot that happened.
Same.
Nothing about that was a good idea. Maybe a little bit harsh, but Parisi at Fiorentina, I was really excited to see how he'd do post-Empoli, but he's had a very, very disappointing season. Quadrado for Inter, a really odd one. Barely kicked a ball. Arnautovic saved himself with some big goals, or one big goal maybe, but I thought he was on the edge of my nominations. But I've gone for Timothy Weah at Juve because I just think he's had maybe less impact than Lindstrom at Napoli. And just, again, I know attacking players don't really thrive under Allegri, but I feel like he's just been massively, massively disappointing. Sharma, who are you going for?
Yeah, I was looking at my list, so I had Lindstrom as well. But I feel like, we just need to call out these Napoli signings as they're who did they sign to replace Kim, the Brazilian guy?
Nathan.
Nathan,
that's the one. I'm gonna give it to him because going from Kim Min-jae, going to signing a guy, that. And then in the end, they played him at left back for most of the season. It was really odd.
Just trying to find a place for him. Yeah. He was. I was thinking about putting him on the list. That's a very, very good shout. Napoli have been the laughing stock of the season, of course. And I think we're probably going to get there when we get to biggest underachievers, spoiler alert, probably Napoli. But worst signing, I think we're going to share it out between the three, because all three have excelled in not excelling. So congratulations to all you three guys. You all get wooden spoons. Let's move on to maybe a bit more hotly contested best manager of the season. James, I'll start with you. I've got a few nominations, but who are you going to go for?
I've gone with Simone Inzaghi. I know there's a certain Bologna manager who will be mentioned, and deservedly so. But I've gone Inzaghi. I think Inter, not Milan. That's blasphemy. I think Inter, was it 71 points last season? I believe third place finish. And if it wasn't for Juventus's point deduction, I think they would have finished fourth. To get them up from that and the Champions League final loss to was it 94-point season, one of the highest ever, is genuinely remarkable. Made incredible signings, which we've already mentioned in Sommer and Thuram. And he's absolutely just blown the league away. And for a manager who is known as a cup manager, that is such a big thing for him personally. So I've gone with Inzaghi. I'll let Sharma speak about him in the games. But yeah, I've gone Inzaghi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like he's really, every year he's evolved this team, right? Every year they've taken a little bit more of a step forward. He's added a little bit more to it. And this year, it was such a huge moment for him to try to finally put those cup manager kind of labels to bed, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's had that tag for sure since he's come to Inter, which is not a bad tag to have. He's delivered trophies every year, but this one was, he had pressure to deliver it this year because, this was his third go at it. He lost it to Milan the first year, which is the one that we're kind of, still angry about. But now we forgive him because, it's not just the fact, the points. It's just the style that we did it in. Like, I think we played the most enjoyable football in Italy and maybe in Europe as well. Like some games, some of the style and the patterns of play and the goals that we scored were just, beautiful to watch. So I can see why Inzaghi should win it. But my nomination was to Baroni, the Hellas Verona coach, because I have no idea how he kept this team up.
We need to talk about this. So they sold their entire team and brought in a whole new team, basically. And they're
all like, I've never heard of them. They're all like made up players from like the Football Manager or something.
Suslov came from nowhere, instantly one of my favorite players in the league. I love him. He's incredible. He's done a hell of a job there.
He deserves a shout for like signing of the season as well, because he's like similar to Niang. He's like scored 5 goals, but they're all massive goals.
Oh yeah, they've also got Andrzej Duda, who used to be at Norwich. I remember him. Darko Lazovic. They're the only 2 players I know.
It is a hell of a job he's done there, like managing all that change and keeping like. Now, I went to watch Verona Torino recently, and beyond the horrific experiences in the stadium, watching the team, I realized just quite how poor a lot of those players are. The quality really wasn't on show, but the job that he's done there, and just keeping them, and they've stayed up relatively comfortably as well. Like it looks now like they weren't really involved in a relegation battle, but those players were the fans were pretty nervous that day. So I think that's a very, very good shout for Baroni. My nomination, I think nobody's going to say Motta, guys, because I'm going to say Claudio Ranieri was mine, just for the sheer, for the sentimentality as well. I'll be honest, it has got to me. But the way he got Cagliari promoted last year, now I follow Bari, like my girlfriend is from Bari. I was heartbroken that Bari didn't get promoted, but the fact that Cagliari won in the final minute and everyone was kind of like, is this squad ready? Are they going to be able to do it? They were struggling at the beginning. He brought in some clever signings like Yerry Mina halfway through the season just to add a bit more experience and solidity into the team. And for him to keep them to keep them in the league, and for him to do it the second time the second time he's done it at that club, like the guy is just a fairy tale. His whole career is incredible. And I think I just wanted, just for the scenes at the end and for maybe the building blocks he's put in at Cagliari there, that if they're clever, they can maybe kind of be a bit more solid in the league, because before they went down, they looked like Everton. They've been fighting relegation for years, so I'm hoping this time maybe there's a bit more solidity there and that they'll be able to build on it. But I think Ranieri, for sentimentality, and for the achievements, I've had to put his name forward. But we do have to talk about Motta. We can't not talk about Motta here. So, James, I'm going to go for you. Like, before the season, I said that Bologna could get Europe. I thought they might get Conference League, Europa League. I don't think anybody expected Champions League. Like, the job that he's done has just been insane, right?
It has been insane, but I would also say that the downfall of teams like Lazio, Roma, Juve, I'm missing a team here. Napoli. But okay, the three I mentioned, the three I mentioned originally, I could see the downfall coming, and I suppose Napoli once the changes were made. But yeah, he's done an insane job. I feel like his manager's stock has been on the rise. They're playing incredible football. He's got Lewis Ferguson just playing unbelievably well. Orsolini, Xerxes, Calafiori, and it's a shame he's going to be off to Juventus, honestly.
Yeah. Well, this is it, right? Sharma, he's going to Juve, and now they're not going to be... I feel like we're not going to get to laugh at them as much now.
But at least the games will be watchable now.
True.
That's true. That's true. Those Sunday nights when it's a Juve long, man.
Oh, God. Yeah. But no, yeah, he definitely deserved the shout. I think most people probably would give it to Motta, but yeah, I think we're trying to give it to give the limelight to also other managers that probably get less of a shout. But yeah, it's a shame to see him go off to Juve.
Yeah, I was really hoping. I'm really hoping he'd just give him 1 year in the Champions League. Like, you got on there, just kind of see what you can do. Like, finish the job a little bit. But
yeah, like Alonso at Leverkusen, right? You just want to do that.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's not to be. My Juve fan friends, of which there's only a few, are very happy and very excited and very loud at the moment, which is very annoying. But I'm going to hijack it because it's my show, damn it, and I'm going to give the award to Claudio Ranieri because sentimentality will always win. He gets the manager of the season, and yeah, what a way to finish your career, Claudio. Congratulations. Let's move on to surprise team or surprise package. You can kind of interpret this how you like. Sharma, I'm going to let you kick us off with this one.
Well, again, I mean, I guess it's the obvious one, isn't it? Bologna going into the Champions League. It's crazy. But maybe on negative surprise, I have no idea how Sassuolo ended up being relegated so easily as well. Like not even like in the relegation battle, they just 2 or 3 game days before the end and they got relegated. It was crazy to me.
Yeah, when you looked at that squad, and I think we'll get onto it because they are nominated in my next one, but when you looked at that squad, there was far too much quality there for them to go down with such a whimper. Like a lot of that defending, Jesus Christ, it was painful to watch the what they call the defense. But yeah, I think Bologna are probably the surprise package of the season, right, James?
Yeah, Bologna, definitely.
Yeah, nice and easy. I also wanted to just throw in Genoa because I think people have taken it for granted that they were just never in a relegation battle. They were just always like, yeah, mid-table kind of, and it's like, no, they came up and they didn't even win the league. Like they came up last year and they've just comfortably got in and never looked worried. Obviously, Goodmanson now a little bit dodgy, but an incredible signing. Like so many goals, so many players there, a lot of quality where you think they just never looked in danger. So I think Genoa, kind of took me by surprise. And I think Gilardino needs to get a bit more credit in terms of the job he's doing there. And if Fiorentina are thinking of changing manager, I think it's kind of written in the script that Gilardino can return, right? And maybe improve on Italiano. It would be beautiful to see. But I think without a doubt, our surprise team of the season is, of course, Bologna. And I cannot wait to see them in the Champions League next year. And hopefully get to Bologna for a game. It's only down the road, so that is my aim next year. But let's move to the next category, and this is where it gets fun, guys. Napoli fans, you can turn off. It's underachievers of the season. And Sharma, why is it Napoli?
I mean, I don't even know if underachiever is the right word. Like, you need to find something. It's crazy. It's embarrassing. It's one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen. Like, you are the champions of Italy, and you whimper out, not even in Europe, 10th position. It's just absolutely embarrassing. I don't even know how their fans were still coming to the stadium. Like they should have just been boycotting it because that's disgraceful, to be honest. And it's all because of De Laurentiis, his ego getting in the way of things and thinking that he can be the sporting director after Giuntoli left. And the coaches that he hired, what the hell is Mazzarri doing in 2024? Like, what the hell? And somehow Calzona, I was looking at the average points. Somehow his points per game was even worse than Mazzari's. Like, and then Rudy Garcia, first of all, starting off the season with Rudy Garcia. It was just awful.
It's exactly what happened is what I like when Napoli, when they won the league last year and we wrapped up last season, I said, right, now all they need is De Laurentiis to not be stupid and just be sensible and just like concentrate, don't do anything wild, and you can kind of have a bit of a legacy here and try and build around this team and improve. Don't do anything stupid. Obviously, you just set fire to the entire season. The Rudy Garcia appointment at the time felt insane. Just looking for a yes man, someone who's not going to argue too much, someone who's going to be grateful for the job, maybe. I don't know. But the second that season started, it looked like he turned it around a bit. The players were starting to play for him, but then he's sacked. Like, James, the whole thing, is it just De Laurentiis? Should the coaches have been getting more out of the players? Did the players down tools? Is it a mix of all of these things?
I think it's a mix. I just don't think. Well, the players are clearly good enough. They won the league last season. Fair enough, they lost Kim. The coaches aren't good enough. Plain and simple. These are the worst champions in a 20-team league in Serie A history. Worse than Torino in 1950.
Yeah,
and they weren't the same team. Obviously, the Superga Air disaster. Yeah. This is. I mean, I'd actually argue that they're overachievers because every time I watch them, it's like they should have been relegated. They were awful to watch. Every time they take the lead, you'd be like, they're going to concede. There's no confidence in that team at all. The only player I think has come out of any sort of praise is Kvaratskhelia because it's actually a sign of a very good player. This Napoli side have been absolutely dreadful, but he started off pretty shaky, if memory serves me right, but he's picked it up, and it's a sign of a good player. I don't think he'll be there very long, personally.
I don't think many of them are going to be there very long. The noises from Di Lorenzo's already making noises, right? Zielinski is, of course, moving to Inter. If he can lose a few pounds, then he'll be back in. He'll be back in form, I'm sure. But yeah, Kvaratskhelia linked with PSG today to replace Mbappe, right? It feels like
I'd have him at Liverpool every day of the week.
Bite your hand off for him, honestly. But I feel like I should have just written down what I said about De Laurentiis and been like, you've just got to hold it together for one season because the whole thing's falling apart now, and fire whoever's in charge of your TikTok because pissing off your best player halfway through a season. Like, Sharma, Serie A is wild at times, but that is one of the wildest things I've seen.
Yeah. I've been watching Serie A for most of my life, and that TikTok account, I think that person did get fired in the end.
Yeah, just incredible. But it kind of.
We gotta say though, now that they're out of Europe and the 10th, and all the rumors are pointing to Antonio Conte, so it might be a blessing in disguise because that guy, not in Europe, one game a week, that's like his perfect scenario.
Yeah.
But this is interesting. So let's talk about this because I think Conte and De Laurentiis together, genuinely, right? This is where I think I give it until like November, until one of them is dead in an office. Like this is only going to be chaos, right?
But as content creators, Rory, like it's going to be so fun.
Of course.
It's going to be so fun.
I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. Like, James, do you see any way that this Conte thing works? Like, I think you made a fair point. Like, one game a week, like if he can actually concentrate and he gets backed financially enough for this magical figure that Conte thinks is enough for his ego, whatever that number is. Like, do you think this could go well?
I give it a season. I think he'll do well in this first season. Then ask for some money, and then he'll leave.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, that does seem to be the Conte cycle at the moment, doesn't it? That's kind of it. But it'll be interesting to see. And as you said, Sharma, we're going to have plenty of content next year. So beautiful. Keep it coming. Nice. Well, let's move on to, I think the next award is probably one of the hardest to decide. I went through the Serie A channel and was like, right, let's try and watch all the goals of the month and see, and just the sheer quality of goals in Serie A this year has been absolutely insane. There were so many goals I forgot about. Bonazzoli with a beautiful flick against Cagliari was an absolutely beautiful finish. Rodriguez against Milan recently, an absolute rocket, crossbarring in, rocket of a goal. Any of the Thuram goals versus Milan. Sanabria with the overhead kick versus Napoli. I know the defending was terrible, but it was a great overhead kick. But Sharma, I'm going to go for your nomination for goal of the season.
Yeah, I think DiMarco versus Frosinone, the halfway line. It's we're still arguing whether he meant it or not, but I reckon he meant it.
We were discussing this before we hit record.
Oh, okay.
Did he mean it? I don't think he did, but it doesn't take anything away from it, right?
No, I don't think it does. But I just think, it was. When I saw the replay, he looked towards the goal. Like I feel like he did that half a second look towards Turati was slightly outside of his goal. So I feel like he did mean it. I think it does make a difference. Actually, I'm gonna change that. I think it makes a difference if he meant it or not.
I just remember watching that game and watching it fly in, and it just looked absolutely beautiful. He only scores bangers as well, DiMarco.
Yeah.
Like that left foot, Jesus Christ, only scores bangers. Incredible player. Very, very good goal to open it up. James, your goal of the season?
I've gone with a goal that I know a player meant, and that was Danny Motta versus Genoa.
Oof.
Great overhead kick from the corner.
Yeah.
Really
It's
good.
kind of edge of the area. Scissor kick, is it the
Yeah,
absolutely. A very, very good player, Motta. I feel like Monza have had a bit of a quiet season, but he's scored some absolutely blinding goals this year, and that's definitely even Daniele Maldini had a few bangers for Monza as well this year. But a big fan of that Motta goal. I'm gonna go for this is against Monza this time. I'm gonna go for Politano against Monza. Where the volley just drops perfectly for him, and it's kind of that like sideways leg swung at the volley,
like a Scholes volley. That one off,
just because with Politano, he's got it in his locker. He doesn't do much else, but he has got that in his locker every so often, and I just really, really enjoyed that goal. Absolute banger. But the quality of goals in general in Serie A this year has been insane. And Sanabria, I think, had more than one overhead kick this year as well. I think he's got I think he might have had two off the top of my head. But yeah, all incredible goals. I think just so Sharma can take the award home, we're going to go with DiMarco against Frosinone, right? let you have the clean sweep, I think.
Inter haven't got enough trophies in this award.
No, exactly. Exactly. Nice. Well, another award that could be lots and lots of nominations: match or game of the season. Sharma, I'm going to let you kick us off. Which game springs to mind for this?
Well, maybe it's that bias that just happened just the other day, but because I was watching it live, the Empoli game against Roma, just like to save their season, stay in Serie A. Like I just love those relegation battling games where it's life or death. It's literally you're going down. They were until Niang scored. Frosinone was staying up and they were going down, and Niang decided that wasn't to be. So it's just because it's so fresh in my mind, and I love those relegation battle games.
Yeah, well, it was a game that we were talking on our group chat actually before the game kicked off. We were like, how do we feel about Empoli getting something here? And I was like, I do have a sneaky feeling because it's at home that they might just Roma have got nothing to play for. They might just get it. And of course it was Niang, right? But incredible game, incredible moments. James, your match of the season?
Incredibly, it's an Allegri game, believe it or not.
No way.
Bologna 3, Juve 3.
Oof.
I enjoyed the hell out of this game. You have Bologna go 3-0 up. A centre half scoring 2 goals, including a lovely little dink. What more do you want from that? You have the comeback from Juve, and who scored the final goal?
Yildiz,
thank you. Yeah. Great goal, and then they could have nicked it at the end as well. And something I absolutely love, Vlahovic is really good at this as well. Just a big, tall striker scoring free kicks. You don't see it very often. And Milik did that. He's chucking down with rain. Yeah, you have Motta against his future employer, sadly. I think it was the game that secured Champions League, I think. And you got a good game out of Allegri. This has to be game of the season. Because that's
actually it was the game where he was fired, so it wasn't Allegri. That's why he enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, fair. True.
He got fired the game before.
Of course he did.
That makes sense now.
Oh, of course it was. Montero. Of course it
Montero.
was. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm sure the only reason they made that comeback was because the players were absolutely terrified to go into a changing room to Montero
Yeah.
with a 3-0 loss. Like, I would hate to be in that situation. The guy's absolutely terrifying. I've got a few nominations. One is also a Juve game. Sassuolo 4, Juve 2, right at the beginning of the season, just for the hilarity of Gatti own goal. And Sassuolo
Oh my
somehow...
God, yeah, that was such a bad own goal. I forgot about that.
Someone like Sassuolo managing to get wins against Juve and Inter twice is just genuinely baffling. So that game definitely sticks in my mind. Udinese 3, Verona 3 in terms of like a shootout for survival. Just an incredible game. The Cagliari 4, Frosinone 3 was absolutely hectic, where Frosinone had a late lead, but Cagliari just somehow came back. But my game of the season, and it's going to be kind of for the sentimentality as well, I suppose, and the fact that my memory is tied to it, and maybe Sharma for you as well, I suppose. But it's going to be Milan 1, Inter 2 to seal the Scudetto, purely because of the... Maybe it's not even the game, but the scenes after the game were absolutely incredible. And for me, that was the game I enjoyed the most this year. And I think Inter's performance all round was absolutely outstanding. The quality of the goals, and just... I've been very lucky to see the city of Milan explode a few times since I've been here. Like, unfortunately, one was for Italy winning the Euros, one was for Milan winning the Scudetto, and then one was for Inter winning the Scudetto. But when Inter won it, it was that weird lockdown, like post-lockdown thing. It didn't feel like a real celebration. And this one, as well as it being against your rivals in their home game, to like just the whole thing, the city was hectic for the next 48 hours, and it was just that game I thoroughly enjoyed. And I think for the significance and like the fact that people for the next however long will be talking about that game, right? I was saying to my Inter friends that night, like, I'm talking to Tommy and that, and being like, you've just won the league against your rivals for the 20th thing, like at their home ground. Like, it can't get better than this. Like, Sharma, it just doesn't get better, no?
Yeah, no, that was the game I was gonna say, but I just thought, we've talked enough into stuff, but now that you've mentioned it, I'm gonna change my nomination, because I went to unfortunately I wasn't as lucky as you to experience it in Milan, but I went to Inter Club London to watch it with them. So yeah, it was amazing. Like when we scored, and then afterwards, we took over the streets of North London as well. So that was really good. So that's gonna stick in my memory for a long time.
Yeah, it was incredible. So it was just unbelievable. We'll go into Duomo that night, and then I'm glad I avoided the big party when when there's 300,000 people, and I stayed at home for that one. But I'm glad I went to the one that night and was like, just took it in. Just absolutely incredible stuff. Really enjoyed that. Nice. And finally, to wrap up, guys, we have meme moment, funniest moment of the season. Some of my nominations. Olivier Giroud going in goal against Genoa was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. Him being added to FIFA as a goalkeeper, stuff like that. All kind of nice things to get behind. Fratesi having his pants pulled down in front of the curva, I really enjoyed as a moment. Allegri's car speeding down out of the training ground in his Fiat 500 made me laugh a lot. And as we were discussing pre-record, James, De Laurentiis admitting that he shouldn't have appointed Garcia in that press conference made me laugh a lot. But James, any moments stand out for you?
I mean, now you mention it, Allegri doing the most Italian thing ever in a Fiat 500 is probably the winner. Also, Allegri nearly stripping. I know it's the Coppa Italia final, but that's got to be mentioned. It has to be mentioned. It's something to do with Allegri.
Yeah, he's a bit of like his reputation in this country is that he's a massive weirdo. But Sharma, I often forget how much of a weirdo he is.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna miss him. Even though he is like puts everyone to sleep, I'm gonna miss him as a character in Serie A next year. He could be definitely one of the nominees, or Napoli, I guess. They're just a meme this year. They're just a meme team. But I'm actually wearing my nomination, so it's
I did clock it. Marotta League. Yes.
So this is on Twitter, or like I don't know if it was also on Facebook, but basically a lot of the non-Inter fans were claiming that Inter getting a lot of favors, and it's all like Marotta doing his puppeteering from the top of Serie A headquarters, and they called it Marotta League. And yeah, Inter fans
I
made
love
it
that
like a
picture,
meme.
man. It's so funny.
That's
It's
good.
so funny.
Shout out to Ian Kerr from Inter Club Belfast who sent me this yesterday, actually. So
Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Well, yeah, I'm gonna put forward I think Giroud in goal. I just love an outfield player going in goal. The chaos of that last 5 minutes. Giroud managing to actually make a save. He came and claimed the ball.
Yeah.
It was all just, and I remember that game was so terrible. It was such a shit game. And then all of a sudden it just exploded. And it was like everyone was turning it on, like Olivier Giroud's in goal. So I really, really enjoyed that. But yeah, perfect, guys.
season.
Sorry?
It's been a long season.
It's been a very long season. I was trying to look through all the and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh god, I forgot about that bloke. And yeah, forgot about Lindstrom, right? There's like plenty of things we forgot about. But guys, that's it. That's our awards. Another season done. Yeah, thanks for joining. Sharma, I'm sure when our viewers and listeners want to find you, where can they find you online to keep up with all things Inter?
Yeah, so just Uncle Sharma on YouTube and at our Sharms on Twitter. Yeah, thank you for having me on. It was always always good fun. I'm really looking forward to next season in Serie A. Should be really interesting. Lots of new coaches, Conte, De Laurentiis, as we said. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
It's going to be exciting. And James, you're going to be out in the Euros following England. Where can our viewers and listeners keep up with your adventures?
Yeah, you can find me. You can find me on TikTok, on YouTube. If you love your football history, I'm doing a lot of World Cup documentaries right now. So if you want to watch them, listen to them on YouTube, Deuce Football.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for joining, guys. As always, guys, hit the like and subscribe button down here. You can find us on Twitter at Italian Anglo Pod, on Instagram at Anglo-Italian Pod, and on TikTok at Anglo-Italian Pod. Yeah, thanks for joining. Keep an eye on our socials for all the Euro 2024 nonsense that's going to be coming out. We're trying to figure out a program. We promise it will be with you at some point. And we will see you again soon. Ciao. A dopo.